Hello, everyone. This is another Black Conservative. I am Ryan Bolden. Thank you all for joining me once again. So I'm pretty sure you guys have already heard the string of vehicle thefts that has been taking place in the city of Chicago. There was I believe, a TV reporting crew that was allegedly robbed. Yeah, robbed at around 5 a.m. in the morning and robbed of all their equipment. And here's the situation. Here's the kicker right here. They were trying to film basically a news program, if you will, on the high level of theft that was going on in the city, and particularly in reference to vehicles. Now, we've had that same problem here in the city of Cleveland. And I actually did a video on that. These group of boys call themselves the Kia Boys. Now, I don't know if these Kia Boys have chapters in different cities. I don't know, but I find it interesting, okay, that we're having the same problem here in the city of Cleveland. And so this is what's going on in the city of Chicago. The crazy thing about this, or I would say the craziest thing about this, is not so much that these kids are robbing these vehicles and robbing people. And it's not even so much that these young people have robbed this news crew of their equipment. Okay, it's not even that. It's the mayor, Brandon Johnson's response to this. His response is the manufacturers of these vehicles are making these vehicles easy to steal. Yeah. The problem isn't with thieving kids running around. No, that's not the problem. We don't need to focus on holding people accountable for their actions. That's not it. No. The great and mighty Oz of Chicago, Brandon Johnson, states that the problem is these doggone manufacturers. They make these cars easy to steal. Let me read you some of the statistical data from an article in Red State. And I'm going to read, they have basically some of the quotes of Brandon Johnson's response to this ridiculous situation that has happened in the city of Chicago. I don't understand. Lord, let me calm myself down here, because it is amazing to me how these progressive Democrats like this can get voted into office. I feel bad for the people of Chicago, but I'm not going to go into the detail of my commentary until after I read you guys this portion of here, this statistical data, and what Brandon Johnson has said is the absolute right answer. Okay. Accordingly, it states that last year, Chicago reported more than 21,000 vehicle thefts. In 2021, the number was only 14,000. Unfortunately, things are getting much worse. One has to ask the question, why? Okay, well, as of this writing, Chicago has experienced more than 20,000 vehicle thefts with nearly 4 months before the year ends. But worry not, my fellow Chicagoans. That's kind of opinionated right there. The writer of the article does have his little opinion in it, but we're going to go past the opinion and get to the factual data. Mayor Brandon Johnson has a plan that is sure to solve the problem. He is suing 2 automakers, Kia and Honda, because the cars they make are just too easy to steal. According to Johnson, end quote, the failure of Kia and Honda to install basic auto theft preventive technology in these models is sheer negligence. And as a result, a citywide, this makes me so mad. A citywide and nationwide crime spree around automobile theft has been unfolding right before our eyes. In other words, and this is the opinion of the author, in other words, Johnson's view, the criminals who are stealing cars are blameless. In fact, they are victims. Okay, let's start right there. And you guys can read the rest of that article on your own free time in the description box below, because I want to get right down to the nudie swoop of this ridiculous feat. Here's first things first. Let's deal with this. Brandon Johnson wants to sue the Brandon Johnson wants to sue the manufacturers of these cars that apparently they're being made too easy to break into. It is not the children's fault. It's not these young people that is breaking into it's not their fault. See, because they're impoverished. and they're not responsible for the things they do. You know, they don't have any food in their home. You know, they don't have any, you know, yeah, they may have a PlayStation 5 or PlayStation 950,021, or, you know what I'm saying? You know, they may have their parents, if they have any parents, may have a car in the driveway, you know, but that don't mean that they're still impoverished. You know, they may have more material goods than some people in third world countries have, but they still in poverty. And so therefore, they're off the hook. Let them off the hook. It's these doggone manufacturers or these doggone cars that's making it easy for these young people to steal these cars. Now, anybody that can support an argument like that, you are bat crazy. There wouldn't be anything I could say to you to even remotely be in the realm of logic. But for the sake of this video, I'm going to go ahead and make this crazy argument anyway. First of all, its premise is not founded on holding people responsible for their actions. Okay, but once again, this is how progressive Democrats think. Progressive Democrats believe that people who commit crimes are not responsible for what they do because of poverty. That these people are, I say this all the time, but it is factual. It's not my opinion. This is how they think. These people are oppressed and are in impoverished situations. Therefore, they're not responsible for what they do. Okay, they're impoverished, and poverty is pushing them to steal Kias and Hyundais all over the cities of Cleveland and the city of Chicago. That's what it is. You know, no, that's what the problem is. It's not that they need to be held responsible. See, this is literally how they operate and how they think. But the problem, one of the problems with that worldview is that it just ain't working. Now, is it? I mean, like, from what I understand, and I shared this in a video that I made the other day, from what I understand, some of these Kia boys and some of these young kids actually assault people in their cars and have actually caused the death of individuals. But no. That's still not reason to hold them responsible. Even if you cause the death of an innocent bystander, it's not their responsibility. It's these doggone manufacturers that are making these cars easy to steal. Now, what's crazy about this is that I had this discussion with one of my employees, my federal employees the other day. As we were on Huron, which is the south side of Tower City, we're doing our patrol. And that's mostly where a lot of these robberies take place, okay? That's where a lot of these robberies and thefts take place in terms of vehicles, is mostly on Huron Road on the south side of Tower City. And I said to him, I asked him a question. I said, man, I wonder why, what is it about these Kias and so forth that are so tempting for these young boys to steal? I mean, what is it? Why they're not stealing any other cars? And then I was asking him that question, although I kind of suspected I knew the answer to some degree. I was asking him that question just to hear his words from him. And he's like, well, I really don't know. I don't really know. Good point. Quick question. I said, well, maybe perhaps it's because of the way the cars are built. It's probably easier for them to get in them and steal them. Now, here's my problem with Brandon Johnson wanting to sue these manufacturing companies to, here's one of my problems with Brandon Johnson. This person, okay, trying to be sane and nice about it. Here's one of my problems with that. You're going to sue the manufacturing company who made these kids for making these vehicles too easy to break in. You need to create a system. He said some type of technology that would make it harder to break into the cars. What is it he said? Let's go back to that. I don't want to misquote what he said. I want to be accurate about what he said. Yeah, that's what it is. Their failure to install basic auto theft technology in these vehicles that would prevent these vehicles from being stolen. Okay. But here's the problem with that argument. I'm pretty sure that the Kia and Hyundais or whatever are trying to create vehicles that are nice looking, but are vehicles that can be afforded by people that maybe perhaps cannot afford the more expensive vehicles. See, this is one of the problems with progressive Democrats. And this is one of the problems with liberals in general. They don't seem to recognize that money doesn't grow on trees. When you add certain elements to a product, it costs more money. And if it costs more money, something else somewhere is going to end up having to pay. Whereas you put this extra technology into the vehicle to prevent it from being stolen, something else may be diminished because of it. Don't you understand? See, this is the problem. This is one of the problems with them. They just sit up and act like these moral arbiters or whatever for everyone else, when in reality, they sound like a bunch of idiots. They don't know anything about economics. They know nothing about economics. Money doesn't grow off trees. That stuff costs money. Money, boo-boo. But you want to make a demand on the manufacturers of these vehicles. They need to put more high-tech technology in it, the auto theft technology in these vehicles to prevent these things from being stolen. So that's your excuse? Instead of focusing on the parents of these young kids and these young kids themselves, instead of holding them responsible for what they're doing, because the other reason why I personally believe that they keep doing what they're doing is because there's no consequences. Consequences. It may be that it's easier for them to steal these vehicles because there is no advanced technology, auto theft technology placed in the vehicles, and these young people are aware of that. Okay, but like the Bible says, thou shalt not steal. Just because it's easy for your knucklehead to steal doesn't give you the right to take property by force that is not yours. Thou shalt not steal. You still have no excuse, and they need to deal with the consequences, because if not, it's going to continue. More lives are going to be taken, and it's going to get to the point where people sitting in their Hondas, people sitting in their Kias are going to be strapped. And if one of these young people, let's stop playing games, man. Let's stop playing games, stop petting people, and be realistic. I like to be realistic. And one of these young people are going to put up on them and talk about trying to rob them and take them and beat them up. And it's going to be pap, 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 somebody going to get smoked. And the next thing you know, one of these young black kids going to get shot, or whoever's doing this. Most of them are black. It is what it is. Stop playing games. Unfortunately, somebody's going to get shot. And I guarantee you, I guarantee you, it's going to be all on the news. Young African-American male was shot, innocently shot. They're not going to look at the fact that these thefts has been going on in the city of Chicago and it's only increasing. They're not going to look at the fact that these thefts have been going on in the city of Cleveland and it's only increasing. They're going to only look at the fact that a young black male was shot because he or she tried to, because he tried to break into somebody's vehicle and try to take their vehicle from by force. Then it's going to be all over the news. It's going to be all over the news. But never mind the lives that have been taken. Never mind the people who have been assaulted by these kids. Now, I hate that these young kids. Now, look, I'm not. We can get into why they're doing this. They don't have strong father figures. Clearly, they don't have strong father figures. Clearly, they don't have that. Okay? Clearly, they don't have strong father figures. Clearly, the parents are not being parents, whoever they are, whether it's the parents or legal guardians. They're not putting any parameters in these young boys' lives. And these young boys are taking advantage of a system that does not penalize them or show them that there are negative consequences that come with negative actions. You can't feel sorry for people for doing wrong. You just can't do it. Let me say this and sum this video up. Whether people believe in God or not, okay, I'm just going to bring it. I do. And I believe that one day there's going to be a judgment day, okay? And there's two judgments. One judgment is called the judgment seat of Christ, recorded in the New Testament book of 2 Corinthians chapter 5, okay? Where all Christians will stand before Jesus Christ to be judged, not to determine whether or not they go on to heaven or not, but to determine the degree of reward they should receive. The other judgment, and just follow me down the real big road, you'll see what I'm talking about. The other judgment is recorded in the book of Revelation chapter 20 called the Great White Throne Judgment. That judgment is for all of those who have rejected Jesus Christ, their Lord and Savior. You won't be there. People will not be there to determine whether or not they're going to the lake of fire or not. They're going. The purpose of that particular judgment will be to determine the degree of torment that they're going to receive in the lake of fire. Now, you may ask, what's the point, Mr. Boland? When they stand before God to be judged, God is not going to sit up and say, and it's going to be all kinds of people. The Bible, the book of Revelation says, great and small, rich and poor will stand before the great white throne judgment. In other words, everybody's going to be judged on the same level. God is not going to look at the poor person who rejected Jesus Christ and say, oh, you was poor. I really feel sorry for you. You know what? You okay. You can get a pass. There will be no pass because everyone who is there will be responsible for their own actions. And those actions were consistent resistance against the laws of God, and they chose to reject God's means of salvation in Jesus Christ. They chose out of their own free will. Therefore, now they got to deal with the what? Consequences. Same principle here. You get what I'm saying? Consequences. Doesn't matter if you rich, doesn't matter if you poor, doesn't matter any of that. Consequences. When we have a law system that holds people responsible for what they do, then it should act as a deterrent to say, hey, I don't want to go to jail for this. And usually it works. But because we have progressive liberals in office that are in part trying to basically, to some degree, whether consciously or unconsciously, destroy and dismantle our country, city by city, province by province, state by doggone state, their policies are destroying the country. Consequences. Okay? It's really straightforward. That's what this is. This man is a bat loon crazy person. His worldviews, as well as most progressive Democrats' worldviews, stink and are destructive and are just shy of the worldview of a communist. Okay? That's what this is all about. Watch out for these progressive Democrats. Because every city they're in, just about, if they're the mayor, 9 times out of 10, you're going to catch hell in that city. I know, I live in one. Just telling you the truth. I like to be real. I can tell you the truth, man. So it is what it is. I can go on and on and on about this. But this is ridiculous. Whole crew get all their equipment stolen from them. And they're attempting to try to do a news show on the thefts in the city. And they get robbed themselves. And what does this fool do? He blames it on the manufacturers. How can people like this get in office and get away with it? It just blows my mind. It's about high time the American people wake up and see what is going on. And in some degree, I'm seeing some videos seem to be suggesting that there are people waking up to this. There are people waking up to this. And I'm going to say this and end this video on this. Most of the people that need to wake up to these kind of policies are black people, black Americans. Because black Americans make up 90% of the voting percentage that keeps these progressive Democrats in office. If only 20% of blacks vote Republican, it would be over for the Democratic Party, or what once was the Democratic Party, whose policies have been nothing but destruction for the black communities. But people get mad at me and get mad at conservatives for telling them this other side. Think about that for a moment. If you like high crime in your neighborhoods, you like your cars to be stolen, and you like all of these drugs and homeless people all on the street twisting and turning around and harassing you and menacing and being a menace to society and all messed up, then go ahead and vote for it with your bad self. But don't cry to me and don't cry to sane people when all this hell hits you on your head and now you wondering what's going on. Because you can pray all day. But after you get through praying, you got to get up, because faith without what? Works is dead. I don't hear nothing about we need to pray. We all need to pray. We need a revival in this country, no doubt about it. But after you get through praying and laying on your face and calling on God, God requires you to get up and do what needs to be done. And part what needs to be done is to expose the evils of the progressive Democrats so that people will have a knowledge of their worldview and vote right, vote knowledgeably. That's what I had to say about it. What do you guys think? Leave your comments in the comment section below. Like, share, and subscribe to my channel. God bless you all. See you again.